All right, I find myself here. This is the I Find Myself Here podcast with your host, David E. Banks. And today I am going to be talking about one thing, and it is planted, not buried. I actually have a list of topics here that I want to talk about that come to my mind, and whenever they come to my mind, I write them down. So today I want to talk about planted, not buried, and just give personal examples of the concept of being planted and not buried. And hopefully, my examples will benefit and encourage whoever is listening. So, in life, we may find ourselves feeling like we're being buried alive with problems, with situations, with things that are totally out of our control. The truth of the matter is that God doesn't give us more than we can bear, right? Every time you have an obstacle, think of an obstacle as an opportunity. Every single thing we struggle with, it's not put there in front of us to make us struggle. It's to make us better. It's to make us grow. It's to make us more resilient. It's to teach us something about ourselves or about life that we need to learn. And if we find ourselves in the same situation over and over and over, there's a good chance we have not learned from that particular situation. So, first example that's coming to me of being planted and not buried, or where I felt like I was being buried, is there's so many. I would say doing my job with my clients. Like, I might feel overwhelmed. Like, I do a job, I think I do a good job. They have changes, which is normal, but maybe the changes are so radical that it looks completely different. So as you know, I'm a graphic designer, and if I design something and it's blue, I hope the client doesn't like, oh, that's us. Well, anyway, hey, if you see if you know it's you, hey, anyway, it might be blue, and they might say, no, it has to be green, it has to be green, it has to be green. It took me a while to get here, but in these circumstances, what I do, I just change it to green. Like, I'm not saying that you need to do it my way, but there needs to be a level of detachment in all areas of your life. I find that whenever you try to cling and hold on to something, thus the word clingy, it really is going to create resistance. But when you are free and you let go, it makes it so much easier. So if you feel like you're being buried, no. When you get some seeds from the country or wherever and you plant it, you're not burying it. The seeds are like, no, 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 we want to be on the concrete. No, they're glad to go underground because they know that under there in the darkness, where nothing seems to be going on, their roots can take root and just keep growing and growing, especially when given water, fertilizer, and care, right? So we need to look at life in all circumstances whenever we feel like we're being covered with problems and things that we have no control over. There's a good chance we're being planted. If you find yourself being planted in a particular situation, example, your location, your job, your career, your finances, your relationships, they're all opportunities for growth. And it really comes down to a change in mindset. Look at your situation, look at your circumstance as a seed. And as the slogan goes, for I find myself here, seed, time, I find myself here. Don't look at it like, oh, this is not good enough. What do you have in your hand? What can you use? How can you leverage what you have to create something wonderful out of this? The greatest people in the world are those that solve problems. So that means without a problem to solve, right? They wouldn't be great. I talked about David last time, the I Find Myself Here mascot, where he slayed Goliath using a sling and where he used his lyre to play music to suit Saul, right? There was a problem. He wasn't like, oh my gosh, I'm buried. Oh, these people want me to do this and they want me to do that. And no, he just saw the situation as an opportunity to do something great. So never consider yourself being buried. I know that life can be quite hectic, and you looking at me here with this nice red backdrop and everything matching, and it's you probably be like, what are you going through? That is so much. People, maybe one day I'll go down that avenue. Listen, most of you are not going to be even believe me if I tell you. Like, you're not going to believe me. This is like a classic Chronicles of Narnia thing. Like, I'm telling you, I've been through that wardrobe and everything like that. So it's for you, the audience, to say, try me. But I'm telling you, like, some crazy things. What I've learned in the last decade is that people, some people can be really, really wicked. And that's putting it very mildly. And I don't even think wicked is such a wicked word anymore, especially because of the movie Wicked. But some people can be very cruel. Like, it's just amazing, the imagination of man, what can be done when people decide to use their minds in a negative way. Trust me, I've been on the one end of that spectrum, on the opposite end, feeling, but glory be to God that every single time that they come at me, God just has my back and I end up winning. So far so good. But yeah, it's an opportunity, people. It's an opportunity. You're not being buried. God wouldn't bury you. He's planting you. And if you think about, everybody loves Julie Mango, no pun intended. Everybody loves soursop. Everybody loves oranges. All of those fruit trees that we love, they're planted. In order for you to get fruit, you need to plant. Seed, time. I find myself here, and I wanted to link each topic I talk about to the theme of I find myself here, to the slogan. Seed. What do you do with a seed? You can't just, oh, I have a seed. Oh, look, I have a seed, everybody. No, you plant a seed. That's the whole concept of why I'm talking about planted, not buried. I'm not trying to pull a fast one on Mike Todd or anything like that. No, like, planted, not buried. You have a seed. You plant the seed. If you have the seed and you put it on the countertop, it's not going to do anything. And we ourselves are like a seed. So if we want to really achieve great things, we need to realize that we ourselves need to be planted. What does that mean? You plant yourself into your career. You plant yourself among your friend group. You plant yourself into your skill set. You plant yourself into your vision, right? You write the vision down. You make it plain. You plant those ideas, those seeds of life and hope and prosperity into your mind. You plant them. Even this podcast, I planted the idea in my heart, and now I'm doing it. And I planted the concept of, hey, it's possible to actually do more recording than one per day. Each recording is what, 10, 15 minutes, maybe 20 if I'm feeling great, right? It was planted. The concept was planted. It wasn't buried like, oh my gosh, I'm burying myself with this idea. No, you plant it. So plant ideas of life, of hope, of your best future, of your best life into your mind, right? That is what seeds are for. You don't get a seed and you put it down and, oh, it looks cute right there on the counter. Or it looks cute right there by my laptop. You plant seeds. And we ourselves are literally the embodiment of a seed. We started off small. We get bigger and bigger. We grow. We learn. We have fruit. Everything just like a real seed, right? So I'm encouraging everybody, planted, not buried. You're not buried. You're not being buried. You're being planted. And it really comes down to a perspective shift, your mindset, right? What do you do when things are not going your way? How do you pivot? How do you shift? You renew your mind. You change the way you think, right? So every time you have a problem, you have a situation that seems overwhelming, think of yourself as a seed being planted. And for everyone who enjoys orange juice or any fruit, it all started from a seed. And we're not just talking about, or I'm not just talking about seeds from like fruit trees. If this mic in my hand was the seed, was the thought of a person, I'm sure this is not the first mic to be made, right? But they got the concept. They're like, hey, this brand makes mics. We can actually make it smaller, cheaper, lighter. We can put a charger in the package so it charges in a case. And we make it a little more refined and we can get a cut of that market share. That's what they did. It was a seed. They didn't just say, great idea, we'll just put it on the file 13 or whatever number. No, you water, you grow, and you look at your seed as an opportunity. God doesn't build furniture. Ever heard of that before? God doesn't be like, hey, what you want, a bed, a dresser? God is in the business of making trees, right? What do you do with the tree? You cut it down and you make something with it. We're all given raw materials, people. We're all given seeds of different talents, right? Beyonce had a voice. She can sing. She can dance. I don't think God literally wrote her lyrics And that's the same for every songwriter. God gave me the seed of art, right? I don't think God is like, okay, I'm going to design this book for you. I'm going to take that photo for you. No, but we have the seed. We can now pivot, and that's why I say it's very important for us to realize like what we have, and realize the in terms of a very existential way, how to pivot and how to direct our energy. We're given like a frame. You can choose life that you might live. You can, do certain things. You wake up in the morning, you go to bed. There are certain things that we can't change. We can't change your, I mean, it can be debated, your skin color or whatever, but you can't change your frame. You are given a body, you're given a voice, you're given, your ethnicity, whatever. There are certain parameters that we as humans, we live in, we exist in. That's just a fact, right? But we can actually be very esoteric and be very, very focused at one particular thing and do really well at it if we are passionate, right? So that can be singing, dancing, drawing, whatever, doing a podcast. We can pivot and focus in on one very good thing. And the more you focus in on something, the more it compounds. And compounding is not restricted to only stocks and bonds and investments. If you think about even investing, right? The investors would always tell you, leave the stock. If you buy Tesla stock, don't touch it. Like, it goes down, don't touch it. It goes up, don't touch it. Leave it for 10, 20 years and see what happens. It's the same thing with your skill. So let's just say you are a great dancer, right? You fall a couple times. You don't just say, oh, I'm going to be an architect now. And then you try architecture, I'm going to be a dancer. No, you stick to something. You don't give up, because when it compounds, just like a stock over 10, 15, 20 years, and if you follow Warren Buffett, you'll see how his stock worked. It started off like not doing much, and then in like 30, 40 years, it went crazy high, right? We're the same way. We have to ensure that our seeds, our talents, they compound, because over time, the harvest will be huge. I just had to do that. I'm sorry. Right? The harvest will be really big, really nice. So I'm encouraging everybody, you're not buried, you're planted, right? And the seed that you have will compound, but it won't compound if you put it on a glass shelf. It won't compound if you put it on the carpet. It has to be buried, right? It has to be planted. And you can actually call it buried, because when you cover the seed up, I guess it's planted still, because you want to give it water and all that good stuff. But yeah, you have to cover it up, right? And that is why talents, they flourish in the darkness when nobody's looking. So you might just see me now and, oh my gosh, he has a podcast. He holds the mic. His background is red. A lot of the times person starts a podcast, it doesn't start off with a red background. That's because I've been watching around. I've been looking around. I've been getting inspiration here and there. I've been working on my merch. And you just happen to see me now when I finally shoot out of the ground, and you're seeing a little mango here and a little whatever here, right? But it took a while for me to get here. You're seeing me at a certain chapter in my life, when I have passed the whole I'm shy thing, or past the whole I'm going to procrastinate thing. Well, I'm still struggling with that, right? So people, just go on, just note that you are what? Planted, right? You're not buried. I think that's all. Have a great day. Deuce.